mind, body and soul, bursting the bubble of the soap myth. Tapping into the emotional freedom technique, and it's back to basics with Feldenkrais. But first, the heat is on with the latest in yoga. The heat is on with this unique style of yoga, famed for its health-boosting benefits. Bikram Yoga is a modern version of the ancient technique, incorporating a sequence of 26 positions. To get the best out of the system, designer Yogi Raj Bikram Chaudhry recommended that the positions be practiced daily in a room heated to 37 degrees Celsius, about the same temperature as the human body. This, he reasoned, would warm the muscles, preventing injury, promote deeper stretching, and create a sauna effect to release the body's toxins. Bikram was national yoga champion in India from the age of 13 for 4 consecutive years. He developed this system of healing yoga when at the age of 17 he destroyed his knee whilst weightlifting. Doctors said he would never walk again. He went back to his old yoga teacher's school and 6 months later walked out with complete mobility. Since then, his finely honed healing system has spread around the globe. Bikram Yoga continues to offer the modern practitioner many benefits. Lipids and proteins are reorganized for optimal function when muscles are stretched, promoting circulation. Muscles are toned by pitting oneself against the forces of gravity. Lungs are stretched and flushed by the extra blood flow. Lymph nodes are massaged and drained, encouraging the proliferation of white blood cells. And red bone marrow production is boosted too. Bikram Yoga utilizes the tourniquet effect. As the body is twisted under pressure, arteries and veins are blocked. The blood builds up and when the position is released, rushes through fast, flushing out impurities from vessel walls. Bikram is excellent for toning the heart. You'll feel as though you've had a real cardiovascular workout after the 90-minute session. Various forms of yoga have been practiced in India for the past 5,000 years. Bikram proudly carries on this ancient tradition, albeit with a modern twist.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. You may want to bow forward, do your practice,
It's a cold and dreary winter and you're crammed in a train on the way to work. A few people are spluttering and sneezing with the latest flu. Will you catch it or won't you? It actually has a lot to do with the state of your skin. If you've just hopped out of the shower after lathering yourself luxuriously with a run-of-the-mill supermarket soap, you've just doubled your chances of falling ill. The human skin is an elaborate organ. Sebum and sweat mingle on the surface of the skin to create an acid mantle. When airborne bacteria land on this acidic mantle, they die, leaving your skin fungus-free and your bloodstream bacteria-free. What happens to this protective acid mantle when you take a bath and suds up? It ceases to exist. Many commercial soaps have an alkaline pH, which means that they totally destroy your protective acid mantle. Not only that, but chemical dyes, fillers, synthetic perfumes, and petrochemicals in inferior soaps can leave your eyes watering from a worn-out lymphatic system. The little guys in your lymphatic system help you fight flu germs. They love nothing more than to munch on microscopic wrigglies and other alien infiltrators like pollen and dust. When you give them chemicals to eat, such as those present in cheap soaps and shampoos, they feel sick and tired and can't do their job properly. The solution? Make sure your soap is natural and pH balanced to suit the pH of your skin. The human skin has a pH of 5.5. A newborn baby's skin is more neutral than this, but it doesn't take long for them to create a protective acid mantle for themselves. Vegetable glycerin is not going to compromise your acidity levels, so a good wash solution made from vegetable glycerin from the health food store will be gentler than cheap soap. Colds aren't the only malady attributed to the ill effects of soap. Psoriasis and contact dermatitis can occur in people with sensitive skins. Nappy rash in infants may occur from the overuse of soap and chemical wipes. Shampoo is often more froth than substance on the cleansing front as well. A harsh chemical called sodium lauryl sulfate, proven by the American Food and Drug Authority to be a skin irritant, is still used in the manufacture of commercial shampoos, soaps, detergents and toothpaste. Do you have a dandruff problem or itchy scalp? Try switching to a sulfate-free shampoo. So next time you go shopping to fill your medicine cabinet with bath time goodies, make sure the soap you choose is squeaky clean. Tired of living life in the fast lane? 83,000 people worldwide are feeling exactly the same way. And they've made a promise to themselves and the world to take it slow. The slow movement started in Europe in the 1980s to help people address the ever-increasing problem of time poverty. People all over the globe are feeling the pressures of life. Pressure to get ahead, to achieve, to output, be busy, appear successful. The world, it seems, is addicted to speed. It's time to gain some balance and perspective, say the advocates of slow. You don't have to reject technology and drop out of society to smoke weed and live in a yurt. You just have to give yourself some time to enjoy your family, go for a walk, think about your diet. Intentionally control the rhythm of your life, instead of letting the rat race do it for you. The slow movement started off with the Slow Cities movement. Their motto was, get out of the car and walk to work instead. And here's a novel idea, how about interacting with other human beings along the way? From the Slow Cities movement sprang slow food. Did you know 93% of American food production diversity has been lost since 1900? And 30,000 varieties of vegetable have become extinct. Is the world heading for a food monoculture? The slow food movement prides itself in protecting biodiversity by actively fighting the commercialization and homogenization of food. They even teach people how to taste again by offering classes and fairs where people can try rare culinary delights. So take some time to give some time back to yourself. Slowing down could save you from depression, anxiety, and hypertension. You may think you're getting places with a go, go, go attitude, but remember what happened to the hare in that famous race. A self-healing technique is helping people tap into their deepest problems. Matt has come to visit naturopath homeopath Carol J. Toms.
You've left them. Yeah. Do you feel that...
He's here for an EFT session. The emotional freedom technique is an acupressure-based psychological healing method.
She's got her set of...
Matt will be delving into some of his deepest issues with Carol's help. and she's going to show him a simple method to let go of his issues once and for all.
So what does being alone mean to you?
The session starts off with some verbal counselling. Carol asks Matt about his lifestyle, how he's feeling, and then makes some connections back to his childhood. She discovers that Matt was psychologically abused by a horrible teacher when he was in primary school, who put the fear of God into him and his classmates. Using personal insults and the divide and conquer method, she controlled her class with an iron fist.
And just freaking out.
Matt has never forgotten the fear she instilled in him and still carries some of these patterns with him today. Carol is sure this childhood experience is the key to some of Matt's current problems and feels it's time to teach him the technique that will help him release the negative emotions and energy blocks created by his encounter with this negative authority figure.
Okay, close your eyes.
She asks him to close his eyes and imagine being back in the classroom with the terrible teacher. On a scale of 1 to 10, how angry and scared did Matt feel?
What number is it?
I'm going to give it a 9.
The feelings rate high on Matt's scale.
All right.
Carol shows Matt a simple tapping progression that he will use in an effort to rid himself of his personal demons. Matt taps the top of his head first, using the tips of his fingers, then moves on to tapping above his eyebrows, the side of his eyes, under his nose, under his mouth, on his chest, and the side of his hands. These points all correlate with points that have been used in acupuncture for centuries. Today, no needles are involved. A series of 5 to 7 taps will be enough to move some kinetic energy along Matt's meridian or energy lines and help him budge the stagnant negativity. At the same time Matt is tapping, Carol leads him through a series of positive affirmations. He strongly verbally asserts that what the teacher did to him was wrong, he didn't like it, and that she was not going to do it to him again. But the hardest affirmation for Matt to make is telling himself that he's a good, nice person. In this society, where it's considered polite to be modest, Matt giggles his way through self-praises. Eventually, Matt eradicates his anger and pain. The negative experience rates a 0 on his scale. Matt has managed to rid himself of a lifelong grudge today. But it's important to note that feelings and experiences don't exist in isolation. Carol tells Matt that there could be other associated problems that he's reminded of as he digests this one. The emotional freedom technique can be used on all of them. As the founder of the technique, Gary Craig, suggests, try EFT on everything. Emotional healing is at your fingertips. Are you someone who watches what you eat? Not everyone can afford a dietitian to oversee their food intake. Now, just to confuse us, we're being bombarded with foods that display their GI value. GI stands for glycemic index. Eating low GI is not just a marketing gimmick displayed on packaging, it's a whole new way to view what we eat. And it can be helpful to everyone, not just those wishing to shed pounds. The glycemic index of food is a ranking from 1 to 100 based on the food's immediate effect on blood sugar levels. We're talking about foods that contain carbohydrates. Donuts, pretzels, dates and rice cakes contain carbs and are easily digested. These foods have a high GI and make blood sugar rise sharply. Not all carbohydrates are the same. Some are slow to break down and their sugar is released gradually into the bloodstream. Bran and oat cereals, tree fruits and nuts are low GI foods. There are several factors that help determine the GI of a food. Don't assume if the food is not in a can, it's low GI. Less processed foods tend to have lower GI, but it's not always the case. Depending on the type of starch, the type of fibre, if there is a protein, fat or acid present, and the style and length of cooking, the food you eat could be deceptively high or surprisingly low in its GI rating. Cornflakes, a breakfast institution in some countries, have a higher GI rating than some confectionery snack bars. Surprising, but true. We're not saying have chocolate for breakfast, but it's easy to incorporate lower GI foods into your diet. Going for low GI foods leaves you with a feeling of fullness for longer. If you're dieting, there's nothing worse than feeling hungry. So incorporate a low GI cereal into your breakfast. You'll be surprised at how long you go before feeling hungry again. Try replacing white bread with a dense whole grain, one that requires a lot of chewing. Avoid packaged gimmicky breakfast cereals. Go for good old-fashioned porridge or tasty muesli. Eating a low GI food can also slow down absorption of a high GI food. Adding a salad dressed with a zesty vinaigrette to a pasta or pizza meal can slow glucose absorption from the high GI food by up to 25% thanks to the acid in the vinegar. If you want an in-between meal fix, don't even go near the supermarket aisle bearing the word snacks. Swap a high GI corn or potato chip with nuts or fruit. You'll go much further on a lot less kilojoules. At main meal times, start with some low GI carbs like beans, wholemeal pasta or brown rice. Add some low-fat protein, say fish or chicken, and then just go crazy with green vegetables. When you're next shopping, be conscious of low GI foods. It's a simple and effective way to better eating. When we think of pain management after an automobile accident, we often think of hardcore chemical painkillers, hands-on massage, manipulative physio and bone-crunching chiropractic sessions. But Ralph Haddon takes the opposite tack. He has mastered a very subtle form of movement therapy that gently reminds the body of its prior capabilities. Amid the hustle and bustle of the CBD, Ralph's classes provide a haven for those suffering from severe pain and those just wanting to take some time out for themselves. There are two forms of Feldenkrais. Here, Ralph is taking a class through ATM, or Awareness Through Movement. During these floor-based classes, students become aware of their holding patterns. Where is the unnecessary tension held in their bodies? They let the old tensions and patterns go and learn to move more efficiently. When a part of the body is injured, the nervous system orders a host of extra muscles around the injured area to take action and provide support. Unfortunately for most people, these muscles continue their involvement in the movement of the injured area well after the injury has disappeared. The result may be an altered centre of balance, which throws other areas of the body out, and also causes much unnecessary tension, which inhibits the range of movement. Ralph is asking these students to find the easiest way to move their hands above their heads and their legs downwards at the same time, very gently and easily with the least amount of effort. Once one side of the body has been reprogrammed, not much time needs to be spent on the other side. In fact, visualization and a little bit of movement may be all that's needed to bring the second side of the body up to speed. Ralph asks his students to imagine which movements occur in life that involve the upward movement of the arm and the downward movement of the feet. The students are instructed to stand and pretend as if they're reaching upwards for something. Ralph tells them to notice that they're placing pressure downwards on their feet while reaching up at the same time. The penny drops. Hopefully their floor work has helped them to discover the most efficient way of completing this everyday task. A couple of months ago, one of Ralph's students had a motorcycle accident. In short, a vehicle stopped in front of him and he flew over the top of the car, landing headfirst on the road. Miraculously, he was released from hospital a few hours later with no major injuries. But since that day, he has experienced severe back and shoulder pain. He comes to Feldenkrais classes every Tuesday morning with Ralph and finds it one of the only effective means he has of controlling the pain. Ralph also works one-on-one with people in FI or functional integration sessions. First of all, he will watch the way a person walks and holds themselves. Interestingly, emotions and psychology impact on the holding patterns a person establishes for themselves just as profoundly as physical injury. Ralph helps people release the negative emotions attached to such holding patterns and tells the body it's safe and secure enough to resume its prior status. In a one-on-one session, Ralph will move the client's limbs with his own hands, gradually reprogramming the body's memory with new information for pain-free and efficient movement. Prior to becoming a Feldenkrais practitioner, Ralph was a massage therapist for years. While he advocates that massage is beneficial for everyone on a regular basis, he also warns that the body may cling too tightly to its holding patterns if it is roughly or intensely manipulated, feeling the need to tense up the muscles in an effort to protect a formerly injured area. The body perceives no threat from the subtle Feldenkrais movements and is more ready to let go and trust. Less is more in this case. From a recipient's perspective, it's nice to close the eyes and let the body go in a one-on-one session, marveling at the end just how effective this unobtrusive hands-on healing method is. Traumas such as car accidents, surgery, back pain and emotional shock can all be healed effectively with Feldenkrais. Feldenkrais reminds us that we are not just physical creatures. We are an awesome integration of the body, mind and spirit, the condition of each element impacting profoundly on the rest. Join us again on Mind, Body and Soul as we discover more paths to health and happiness. But for now, Dominique gives us some food for thought.
We often talk about cultivating more balance in our lives. But have you ever stopped to consider that perhaps everything might be in balance already? This is especially true when it comes to the personality and to the individual. We contain all of the potential human characteristics, traits, personas already within us. It's only when we try to deny certain traits, certain characteristics and behaviours that we start to feel unbalanced. Whenever you try to be all positive, all good, all happy, all smiles, all the time, you're setting yourself up for misery. It's impossible. You can't have one side of the coin. When you allow yourself to embrace your shadow side, when you allow yourself to embrace the side of you that may be pushy, may be bossy or angry, then you are embracing the totality of who you are. And the irony is that once you allow yourself to express your anger in a healthy way, once you allow yourself to be bossy when it's required, you'll find that these traits need to surface less and less often. Everything falls into balance beautifully.